Peace family, it's David here. I'm back again with another video. This video is going to be a little different from like the other videos I've been doing. This video has been inspired by the conversations I've been having recently that have just been giving me some more fuel to the fire, because I had a moment in my life where I realized I had a lot of things I have to change, and I had a lot of things that I have to do in my own way, in my own right, because I was giving the responsibility of my life to other people. And they were letting me down. They were disappointing me because I wasn't finding myself growing the way I needed to grow, the way I wanted to grow, the way I desired to grow. It wasn't happening. And then now I'm also realizing the same choice I had to make for myself, other people are standing at that crossroad, and they're realizing that they're not getting what they were hoping to get. They've been doing the same thing and they're not expanding, they're not growing, they're not finding new wealth within themselves. So that's how this video came about. That's how I felt like, okay, I'm running it. That's how I got here. So with that being said, what exactly is people feeling? So right now, people are going through this phase. Hopefully it lasts a short amount of time, but this is phase of people pleasing, but it comes so often that we actually start neglecting ourselves. We neglect how we feel. We neglect the things that the Spirit leads us to feel. We neglect the things that is illustrated to us, and the problems that are presented to us that we have the potential to solve. We just neglect them as if they're not really problems. Ain't nobody gonna listen anyway. Yeah, but this is what they said I should do. And we just discard how we think or what we think, and we just discard how we feel in order to please another individual. This some real heavy stuff I'm about to drop on y'all, so I hope you're ready. And I just want to say that if you have anybody around you that's under the age, actually kindly let them discard themselves somewhere else, or put some headphones in or something, because I'm not making this video for my mom. But if she watched this video, she's going to have to heed to this warning right here. So let's go ahead and get started. So when it comes to spirituality, right? We are spiritual people, okay? Let me just say that again. We are spiritual people. Someone might conceptualize that their religion makes them spiritual. Let me tell you again, we are not ordinary people. We are spiritual people, okay? So with that being said, we have to understand that spirituality is who we are, okay? It is not about which religion. It's about your connectivity. It's about your awareness and understanding of spirit. It's not about what you did on last Sunday, if you pledged or if you pleaded or if you dropped your tithe or whatever. It's about your connection and your communication and your identification with spirit. So when we talk about spirit, it might be spooky to somebody because they never really got a clear understanding of it. So from now till today, they just imagine a ghost or something. But what I want to introduce to you, if you haven't found out about it already, is the term consciousness. And consciousness explains the essence of awareness that's present within all individuals and all beings on the planet. So you can observe a tree. You might think that the tree is just standing still, ain't really doing anything. But then if you actually use technology and science, you can observe that there's life force within the tree. That life force is aware, and that awareness is consciousness. So you can see consciousness in a tree. You can see consciousness in a bird, in a bee, in a squirrel, on the street, a small rose growing from the crack of the ground. That's consciousness. Consciousness is living. We live on a living planet. It's crazy that somebody might think that we're on a planet, we're just the only living things on it, and everything else is just, trinkets and toys. These are all living things. The world is alive. We live on a living planet. How else could we live? So with that being said, when we come back to the understanding that we are spiritual people, we have to understand that we are naturally spiritual people. So before any type of religion, I'm very certain that you would still treat your neighbor as you would treat yourself, because that would be your first cognitive way of thinking or way of behaving. If you understand the Bible, then you understand the attempt to man produce spiritual people. But we are already spiritual people, so we don't necessarily need laws and rules to tell us how to live correctly if we've never seen how to live incorrectly. So because we have seen how to live incorrectly, and those thoughts have plagued our mind, now Christianity has an area to work. because there are certain people who are of low vibration who are trying to find a higher vibration. So they go to church, and that's great. Unfortunately, when you're in church, what they're going to give you is not going to increase your vibration so much further than where you are right there, because it's not going to give you the awareness and the understanding of spiritual principles, but more likely it'll give you folklore and stories to illustrate the same principles. And that might work for some people, but it's going to come to a point in time where you're going to become mature enough to understand that Noah's Ark could just be God giving you the opportunity to bring forth what you have envisioned within yourself. And that's a story showing you how it works for another person outside of you, but it's still you, because you have to look at it introspectively. You have to look at it with an introspective mind and see how this applies to my life, because it's you. It's you. Without the Bible, there will be nobody to read to. I mean, without you, there will be no one to read the Bible to. It's about you. It is about you. Okay? So, with that understood, if it's never about you, even though it is about you, it's just gonna discoordinate your mindset and your awareness on what's valuable within the sermon, within the story, within the whatever it is, because you're separating yourself from it, and it makes it seem like it's not you, but it actually is you. It's all about you. Why else would everybody be there if it's not about us? What else do we have to learn about Jesus if we're not ready to enact and behave in the sense that Jesus will? What would Jesus do? What if we're not ready to do that? What's the point? Well, the point is offering and time wasting. Fellowship, yeah, maybe. But who wants to fellowship with people who don't believe in themselves? Who wants to actually do that? How long do you want to do that for? What do you expect to get out of that? Nothing? Not a damn thing? Well, then I guess I understand how you see the value of your own time. Because you expect nothing. So you ain't going to get nothing. Now let's jump into some insight, because I don't want to just make this video smacking and tearing down the illustrated constructs of way of believing and way of thinking that are invalid. I don't want to spend the whole video doing that. I could though, but I don't want to do that. So when we start talking about, let's say for example, let's talk about an aspect of church that is very important. Prayer, right? Prayer is very important. I'm going to break it down to you right now. When we understand prayer, we only understand it from a sense of, you don't have something, you might need something, pray for it. Right? But we don't actually come at prayer from the perspective that will actually keep, sustain, and transform somebody's vibration, from the aspect of gratitude. See, the Bible talks about when you pray and you believe, you shall receive. But what it don't say in the Bible's text, hoping that a pastor or somebody who's reading the text would elaborate and expand on this aspect, is that prayer is the relationship between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And I'm going to break this down. So when we talk about prayer, we know that prayer is communicating with the higher source, right? That higher source lives within you, or else your words will be invalid, and you would only have to go to a place in order to be heard. But that's normally not the case, because people have already come to understand that God don't live at church. We are the church where we come together, we bring God together. But when we separate, God's with us still. God's here with me in this room. I could be praying in here by myself. I could be praying in the wilderness, at the forest, at the creek. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily have to be at a physical building in order to interact with the essence. That don't make no sense. That's some man-made law stuff. So when I hear the statement, it goes like, come and seek the face of God. God got a face now? First of all, that's the first thing I think. And then the second thing is, so I have to come there to do that? Y'all need to really think about the words y'all choosing and how you represent what's going on, because that's fraud. That's defrauding the name of God, really. Because God ain't there. God is everywhere. So I don't need to come specifically there to experience God. That's some bullshit. That's some bullshit. So the relationship between prayer, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind is the aspect of prayer when you're relating them. So let me give you an example first so you can break this down in your own mind so that it can make more sense. Think about a farmer, right? What is a farmer's quote-unquote job? His job is to create resources of food for the town, for the city, for the culture, whoever it is, right? Farmer takes something called a seed in his hand. And then he goes to nature, which is a natural essence of the feminine energy. He goes to nature and plants this seed, conscious, into the subconscious. nature is the subconscious mind, in the essence of observing. When we observe in nature, it's reflecting to us the subconscious mind. Why? Because nature runs on its own system, it runs on its own program, and it doesn't take, you can't alter the instructions of nature. You can't tell a squirrel not to run away from you when you're getting closer to it. You can't tell a bird not to fly away. That's instinct. Nature listens to instinct. Instinct represents the subconscious mind and your natural way of intuition, or your natural line of intuition, for example. So the farmer plants a seed in the soil, right? After nurturing the seed in the soil, after watering, after sending focus and attention to the joining of the seed in the soil, then in a future time, you can have something grow from that, like a tree or plant or whatever it is. Now bringing that to the prayer. Conscious mind is thinking. Conscious mind is writing, is understanding, is interpreting. It's that thought, that moving thought. That's conscious behavior. You want to play basketball? That's conscious. But the subconscious is the receiver, the same way the soil receives the seed. So your thought is received by your subconscious, which is really your emotional body. So as you pray, you are planting seeds into your mind and convincing the subconscious so that the subconscious can bring it into fruition in the physical world. That's exactly what we're doing here. So I have a question, because when I was in church, we would be praying for about 2 hours. How long does it take to plant a seed? Because sometimes we just redundantly screaming above our lungs, and I don't have time for it. I personally just don't. My eardrums are upset that this shit is so loud. That's how I feel. And I feel like it's disrespectful to my eardrums. It's disrespectful to everybody's eardrums in here. Y'all running the game right now. So when we start understanding the relationship between the conscious and the subconscious mind, we actually find ourselves with God, because we know that when we pray, we want to pray in a temple. But what do you have right here between your, on the outsides of your eyes? Your temples, okay? In the center of the temple is the what? Is the third eye. The third eye is the seat of the soul, the channel for intuition. And most of us don't have any awareness of the health of the third eye, or what foods destroy the third eye, or what the hell the third eye is at all. We don't even look at the computer. We don't even read anything. The only thing that we read is the Bible, but somebody else reading it to us. How are we supposed to know? Probably never. Probably never. Probably never. Okay, so that's the illustration of understanding between the conscious mind and subconscious mind. What we spend our time doing is convincing our internal being so that we can use our belief that has now been transformed to attract the thing that we are actually aspiring for. That's why the Bible says, ask and you shall receive. You have to believe that it's already there with you before it actually comes. It's talking about conviction within yourself. It's talking about understanding and belief within yourself. It's not about no God outside in the sky. It's about the God inside of you. It's about the essence of your spirit. It's about consciousness and how you hold consciousness fast or steadfast by believing. And that's pretty much the relationship between prayer and the conscious mind and subconscious mind. The reason why I broke that down is because we don't understand what we're doing. And it might work in the sense of we can control people because they don't know what they're doing. But if you want people who are valuable to themselves, if you want people who are valuable to the economy, if you want people who are valuable to their families, to their cultures, they need to know. They need to know. It makes the process more enjoyable to understand what we're doing. Some people decide not to know, so those are those people. We're not over there with them. So anyway, next, people pleasing. Jesus Christ himself, from the character written in the story, says, "Don't tell a lie and do not do what you hate." There's a commandment from Jesus, but why would you think that Jesus would say that? I don't have the text right here in front of me, so I can't open the book and read it. But if we're just using our intuition and discernment, why do you think Jesus would say that? Did you see Jesus having a religion in the Bible? Did you see Jesus in church? Okay. So why do you think he would say that? Don't tell a lie and don't do anything that you hate. In my conscious awareness, from my perspective, looking at that, it says to me, live up to your esteem within yourself and don't shake that foundation for any single soul. Don't shake that foundation for anything. That's what that says to me. What does it say to you? Don't tell a lie and don't do anything that you hate. What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? Does that mean that, what does it mean? What does it mean? Well, with that being said, let's continue. So a lot of people are doing exactly the opposite of what Jesus said. A lot of people are putting up with bullshit and they're not afraid. I mean, they are afraid to stand up for what they truly believe in, which is within. They don't know exactly how to label it because it's feelings that they're listening to. And we have grown to neglect our feelings. I'm speaking as a man. I'm speaking as a man. I know that the culture suggests men shouldn't cry. That's neglect of feelings. Men shouldn't say I love you to another man. Why? We're not talking about homosexual shit. We're talking about appreciating my brother. Why can't I do that? Why? Because in high school, what? The fuck? That makes no sense. We are taught to neglect our emotions. And the funny part is about this, that's where your real power is at. That's where your real power is at. As far as being a man, you have to actually be in tune with your awareness of your feminine aspect. If not, then you're going to actually be just over masculine, or that's what they call a term, toxic masculinity. I think that term in itself suggests that masculinity is supposed to be separate at any point in time, which I don't believe. We are born of both man and female. Without both man and female, whether they're not there where you're growing up or not, without the two essences, you could not be. So why should you try to live without one or the other? It makes no sense. So this is me on my masculine right now, and I'm being really nice with y'all because I'm not saying things the way that I know I want to say them right now. I'm trying to be nice with y'all. But so that's something we want to understand. Like, I don't want to go into too much detail because everybody's church is different, and I don't really know how your church has been going. Like, I can only speak about the church I've been to when I was growing up and the people that I'm interacting right now who still continue to go to that same specific church. But a lot of people are doing what they hate right now. So you tell me who you really believe in. Because if you believe in Jesus, you're really showing that you don't first. And if you really, really believe in Jesus, then I would consider believing in Jesus living inside of you. Because if Jesus do come back and he don't come back through you, it's better that he's not here. Because ain't nobody else going to understand or experience anything because he's going to be in the wilderness. So if Jesus Christ don't come through you, I'm better off not seeing Jesus. He better just not come. So if he is going to come, he's coming through you. And that's going to only happen after you balance the hemisphere of both the logical and the creative sides of the brain. Because when you do that, you're actually able to arrive to the throne of God and see God for yourself, within yourself. This is not about no God in the sky. This is not about no other religion. You don't need a religion to understand God. You need a religion to please man in your understanding of God. That's what you need religion for. So if we're talking about why people are not enjoying church, it's because church wasn't made for people. What you want? What you want? If church was made for people, then people would actually go there and they would learn how to transform and change their lives every single time they go. They would learn and see exactly what they can do tomorrow to make themselves have a better today. That's obviously not the case because our youth are pretty much forgetting about the things that they are born believing in. Their dreams, aspirations, and goals and visions that they wanted to create for other people to enjoy and have better life, they're forgetting about that. They're leaving that behind because they need a job. They're leaving that behind because they need to get cash. They're leaving that behind because if they don't get $1,000, they don't have a place to sleep. So why is the church not preaching and teaching about money? Why isn't school teaching and preaching about money? How come none of these organizations tell us how to use money? What the Are you serious? You really haven't thought about this? Let me help you think. Because I know they collect big numbers in church. Because I was there giving my numbers, and that's all I had to give, and I gave it. So I know they got it. What are they doing with it? It's a great question. It's a great question. What the fuck are they doing with the money? What are they doing? Because I haven't seen any youth start their own business. If all the youth brought $20, we could get somebody started on their business next Sunday. Group economics. If we put our money together, what can we do with it that's going to allow us to expand and grow as a group? Like, you've come to church and barely got $5 and ain't learned shit about money, and they've been coming to church for 20 years now. You think you should still go? That's up to you. Because for me, I was like, no, there's no way. There's no way. What am I going to give to my kids? What am I going to do for my family? I can't even do that shit for myself. Y'all haven't seen it yet? Okay. Okay, this video is finna hit 25 minutes. Let me tell you right now. Now, let's have a little history lesson. Where did the aspect of Jesus come from? Because we know that we can feel the sincerity and the truth in the message. So where is it coming from? Because maybe the truth is resident within the message, but without an open mind, without a clarity of thought, we might not be able to see it past the characters, past the stories, past the representation that we get at church. So where did the story come from? Well, if you do your research, you will come to the understanding of the Egyptian story, the Egyptian trinity of Isis, Horus, and Aset, right? You understand that Isis gave birth to Horus through immaculate conception, or another term is used, parthenogenesis. But even these stories are representing the essence of the natural world the same way that Jesus is trying to do. If you have an open mind and an awareness of the similarities in all of the stories, then you can understand the essence of creation, because all the stories are telling you it in the same fashion. Instead, the stories and the characters introduce new philosophies when the skin turns white. Something like that. But just for a breakdown, if you look at the letters of Jesus, Jesus, and you write out the letters of Horus, Horus, you'll see that the words, that the letters, they flip from a consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant, and in difference. And so the two words are different, but each letter is placed in the same position. Vowel, consonant, or consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel. Why is this important? It's important because when you understand phonetics and you understand speech, then you understand that when you say something and it actually has the same phonetic principles as another word, you can feel the same essence and vibration of the word that you're representing. So if you wanted to remix a word and the word actually is, David, then you would just flip the consonant vowels and align them with other consonant vowels that creates another word, but it has the same flow with consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel. What that would do is it will give you the same vibrational feeling within your being as you speak in the word. Why is this important? It's important because that same switch of vowel consonant happens in so many different words, because we're utilizing the English language, which has been revamped from previous languages. So if you're looking at Latin, or if you're looking at Greek and you're looking at the etymology of words, you can see the true and, in fact, original or more original meaning of a word before it became what it is currently. And we can go through some examples of that in another video. But the reason why I'm saying this is because the same way that they can retrain words is the same way that they retrain stories, and they add their own subconscious mind salt and pepper so that it can change the way that you think upon reading and observing the literature. If you look at the Son of God, S-U-N, and a woman who bears a son, S-O-N, it's the same son, and when you say son, you don't even know which one you're talking about. The context of the situation or context of the statement will give you an awareness of if you're talking about the son that gives us life, or you're talking about a son that has been brought by the way of giving life. You understand? So the breakdown is that the story is original truth, but has become fabricated. So there's more to understand beyond the stories. There's more to understand beyond the stories. If you think about Jesus, and we also just broke down the whole son ideology. If you talk about Jesus, and Jesus had 12 disciples, then when you do some research, there's a lot of different realms of understanding that go into this text. There's astrology, there's genetics, There's etymology, literature, words, and casting spells, because when you're spelling a word, you are literally spelling. And with that understanding, you can see that Jesus Christ had 12 disciples, and we also have 12 signs in the zodiac symbols. We also have 12 months in a year. We also have 12 hours in a day, or in the first section of the day, it's 12. We keep having this same cycle of patterns. So if you can't see the patterns, it's because you don't have the amount of research and intellect to know what the patterns are saying. So essentially, I just wanted to break down, there's more to know, first of all. And then I wanted to break down why people are not able to find that level of satisfaction, self-esteem, or just growth in period. And that's because knowledge and true information is not being placed in the forefront of our integrity as organizations, grooming and assisting our people into a better future. So we only doing half the work. We only doing half the work. So I just wanted to make this video because I needed to share this. I keep having these conversations, and I know why. It's because the world is being used to assist me in realizing what I can do. That's the reason why I have a conversation and it ticked me off. Normally, I don't get ticked off. Things don't set me off. Why? Because I'm balanced within myself. But when it does happen, I know that it's being used for me to actually reach within myself and pull out something that wasn't there before. So I just wanted to wrap this video up here because it's a little bit over time. But stay tuned for the next videos, because in the next videos, I'm going to be utilizing my computer, some PowerPoint features to explicitly show you step by step all of this information, how I came to this information, and what it means when I observe it. It can mean something different when you observe it, and that's a process of learning. That's the reason why we're not supposed to force each person to think the same way, because each person has their own awareness based on what they've grown up to understand, to digest, and to grow in the realms of knowledge, and they can apply their knowledge differently but depending on the circumstance and the situation. And that's what allows us to become a healthy communities, because we have so many diverse ways of seeing things, but it all comes back to serve the same thing at the end of the day, because we are spiritual people. So with that being said, y'all, I'm out of here. This video is over, and thank you for watching. Shine so someone can see you. Yes, you can shine too. The elements of life, the elements of the world, and all of nature lives within you as well. So you can definitely shine the same way the sun does consistently every single day. With that being said, yeah, I just wanted to wrap it up with that. So with that being said, I'll talk to you again soon, and see ya.